Welcome to Body Sculpt of New York, 6 Weeks to Fitness podcast, where we hope to inform, motivate, encourage, and inspire you towards living a healthier lifestyle. And now, here's your host, the president of Body Sculpt of New York, Vince Ferguson.
I'm your host, Vince Ferguson. Thank you so much for joining me today. Now, for those of you who are used to listening to my audio podcast, you can now watch my show on our 6 Weeks of Fitness YouTube channel. And joining me today as my very first video guest is Carmen Carricka. She's a graduate of Fordham University's Alvin Ailey Bachelor of Fine Arts program. She is a professional dancer, a fitness instructor. She's an actress. She's an educator and creator of Crown Soul Yoga. And I am very pleased to have Carmen Carricka on my 6 Weeks of Fitness program. Carmen, how are you today?
I'm great. Thank you so much for introducing me. I'm happy to be here.
It's such a pleasure having you. You're so full of energy and vivaciousness. It's just a joy to have you here today. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you.
But before we get started talking about your illustrious career, let's talk a little bit about your early days. Where did you grow up, Carmen, and what was your childhood like?
Well, I'm originally from Detroit, Michigan, so I'm from the Midwest. And I come from a family. I was raised by my mother, a single parent, and she was a musician, a singer, and a songwriter. So she had her own band. So I grew up in an environment surrounded by music. So it was a very fun experience, having a band, rehearsing in my house as a toddler.
Yes.
That was my introduction to jazz music. That was my introduction to instruments. And that was where my love and passion for music began. So it's great. It was a great experience. Nice growing up somewhere where you have trees, and I planted plants and vegetables and fruits with my grandfather, who had a garden.
Nice.
And because I come from the Motor City, there are a lot of engineers in my family. So everyone worked or retired from Ford, GM, Chrysler. So I grew up working on cars. I helped out.
Really?
I was a girly girl, but I was also a youth who dibbled and dabbled in working with machines and engineering and designing things. So I like to work with my hands and put things together. And that began my interest in textile design, because I'm also a fashion designer. So my love of music came from my mother, and my love of engineering and design came from the men in my family.
Wow, a good combination, I would say, huh? Wow. So although you came from a single parent home, you did have family around you to help you. Male figures, female figures, which makes for a well-rounded, environment. And it made you the person you are today, which is absolutely amazing. Now, yes, you've been teaching dance for about 25 years, I understand. Am I correct? Right. Now, that would make you about 30 years old, because I've met you, and you look like you're in your 20s, actually, but you know what I'm saying. So Your healthy lifestyle is really paying off, right?
Starting dance from the age 3 and continuing on into my 30s, I've been dancing, and I've been an athlete nonstop. I started teaching when I was 14 years old, assisting ballet classes and helping the studio owner run the studio when she had her baby. So I started early.
Yes, and I believe if you introduce children to activities and like the dance and fitness at an early age, they continue as they get older. You are exposed to it, you know,
Yes,
and look what you're doing now. You made a business, a career out of it. Amazing.
absolutely.
Yes.
I tell my
Now,
students that
say it
it's
again.
important what you do in studio, what you're doing in school, when you're assisting teachers and helping out, it pays off because you end up being the one that's hired for the job. Or you end
Yeah.
up having the skills and the information and the knowledge to start your own business based on all of the experience that you've had growing up.
Beautiful. Now, you studied at the Fordham University's, Alvin Ailey's Bachelor of Fine Arts program. How was that experience?
Wow. It's been, it's been a good 17 years since I graduated.
Wow.
I graduated in '04, I think, something like that. So when I was a part of the Alvin Ailey, and Alvin Ailey is one of the most or the largest African American modern dance companies, and we were the guinea pigs of the program. So I was a part of the first graduating class as far as them having a joint program with Fordham University. So we were the first classes. So it was new to have professional dancers at Fordham taking liberal arts classes and then walking over to Ailey and having a full dance conservatory experience. So I had a very long day. I had 4 academic classes, and then I'd have 4 dance classes, and then I'd have rehearsals in the evening, and then I'd have a job working at the university. So 22 credit hours a semester, lots of hard work. If we started off with 20 students in our class, by the end of 4 years, there were 10 of us.
Really? Why?
Yeah, in my class specifically, because it's very demanding on the body. It's costly to live in New York. So coming from Michigan, moving here, not everyone could deal with the transition as well. And a lot of dancers found that, this is just too much on my body. So only the strong survive. So people think, okay, let me go do this BFA program. Yes, do the BFA program, but research it, make sure that it's something that works with you, because it's a very demanding program. So I'm glad that I went through it. So many connections, so many performance opportunities.
Yes.
Working with all of the major choreographers and having the opportunity to apprentice, to be a guest performer. So I'm so blessed and thankful, and to work with some of the company members, having taken class with Alvin Ailey dancers every day. Ballet class, modern class, African dance class, the conditioning classes, yoga, Pilates.
Really?
They were there. First and second company members were there with us. And then you had the PPS, the after school kids were in the building as well. And this was when Alvin Ailey was on 66 in Amsterdam. Now it's the larger building. So the larger building was not there in 2004. In the year 2000 when I joined, it wasn't until 4 years later that building was finished. So when I graduated, the institution that everyone knows of now, that's huge building, which is called the Jones-Lyles building, which is named after the person that funded it, wasn't there. It wasn't there yet.
Wow.
So all the hard work that all of the students and teachers and everyone, the Ailey family, all the hard work that we did contributed to continuing the legacy of Alvin Ailey, having that large institution where people from all over the world are coming to learn. So
yes,
I
Amazing.
didn't experience, but it definitely made me who I am. I'm a stronger dancer, a stronger, a more experienced teacher, have a lot of knowledge and information to share, and I have a lot of connections. Always have all of those dancers and teachers as support.
You can't put a price on that support, and those connections. You can't put a price on that. And speaking of dance, what type of dance do you now teach? I know you teach children and adults. What type of dances do you teach?
Well, I teach everything. Well, mainly right now I'm teaching yoga. I'm teaching kids yoga classes from the ages 18 months to like 5 and 6. That's the group that I'm in.
18 months? I'm
Yes, the
sorry.
mommy and me classes, the baby.
Wow. And what else? Okay.
And then I also teach adult classes
Adult.
from, all the way up to 80.
Up to 88. There's still time for me. Oh, good. But again, so you're teaching yoga, you're teaching ballet, you're teaching what else?
I'm teaching jazz, I'm teaching tap, I teach swing dance, Lindy Hop.
Indie hop.
Yes, I teach soca fitness, I teach African dance and after school programs. So, and I love to share history, African history, so that people know about the culture. That's very important, especially when I'm teaching kids, that they know where the movement comes from, that they know what instruments are, and they know what places that these dances come from, especially in this time and age when TikTok videos and social media, there's so much information, visuals. So everyone sees movement,
Yes.
but they may not know where these dances come from.
Right.
So it's good that they have the history and they know the knowledge and the culture
Now
behind it.
let's talk about yoga, because that's where I first met you, when you did a yoga class for my organization, Body Scope of New York, and with the children. Now, where did you learn yoga?
Well, I started yoga. Yoga was a part of my curriculum at Alvin Ailey.
Okay, but didn't you also learn yoga in Jamaica?
Yes. By the time I graduated, I was conditioning my body by doing Pilates and bar and gyrokinesis, anything like that would help keep my body fit.
Yes.
It really wasn't a spiritual journey for me until I went to Jamaica, and I wanted to learn specifically a style of yoga that was more ancient, more meditative, that connected to me as an African American. And that's where I found Kemetic yoga. So I was like, I'm going to go straight to the source. I'm going to go to Jamaica because I had the time and I was available to do the 10-day retreat and training. And I've been doing it ever since. And it's my favorite. It's something that I really connect to spiritually. I'm a Kemetic yogini, if you want to say that.
Yeah.
I practice a Kemetic diet. So Kemetic, all of it, living according to the laws and principles that the ancient Egyptians practiced. Learning the history, learning the language, and incorporating that in my modern day lifestyle hasn't been easy for me, and it has kept me grounded.
Really? And you say Kemetic, which is Kemet.
Kemet.
Right? So when you're training, when you're teaching yoga, when you're teaching Kemetic yoga, are you also teaching the language to your students?
Yes.
Wow.
They are learning the poses in the Mother Nature language.
So
if you're learning, for example, the Sphinx pose or the lion pose is Heru Akhmet. So you'll learn, I'll say it in English and I'll also say it in the Mother Nature language as well.
Do you have any space to go to do a pose or two that we can see?
Sure. So we all know of the monument in DC that's shaped like an obelisk.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So in Egypt, it is called Tekken, which is spelled Teken.
Tekken.
So uh, this is Tekken pose. So you're standing with your feet together.
Yes.
You're connected to earth. And earth, the Egyptian word for earth is Geb.
Yeah.
And then you're reaching up and you're connecting to the sky, which is Newt.
Huh.
And
Nice.
pole is called Tekken. So you're feeling the connection to the earth and to the sky.
Wow. Wow. That's powerful. That is really, really powerful to see that, you know? And you said the comedic lifestyle, okay? Now, does that involve also nutrition as far as eating healthy? Because you're a
Yeah,
vegan.
absolutely. I'm a vegan. Comedic diet is a plant-based diet.
It's
So
a
if you're choosing
plant-based.
a lifestyle and you're choosing to practice comedic yoga, you're also choosing a plant-based diet.
Wow. And why is that important?
Well, if you look at the hieroglyphics, even the ancient Egyptians, you'll see lettuce, you'll see greenery around them. You'll also, those are examples that was the way that people were living. And that was their source, the plants.
Okay. So they didn't eat the chickens and the cows and they weren't meat eaters. No?
Well, I mean, as far as I know, there of course are going to be people who do different things depending on where they are.
Right.
But the tradition and the comedic practice that I'm practicing
Right.
and that I learned from teachers before me, we're practicing plant-based.
Excellent. I think that is an excellent way to eat, to live. I do believe that. I believe that it also helps you to connect more with spirituality because you're not weighed down by meat eating, you know?
Yes.
So I applaud you for that. And I think it gives you a lot of energy, and that's why you're all over the place doing so much. I am so impressed with you. Now, you call your company Crown Soul Yoga. Where'd you get that name from?
Well, Crown Soul Yoga, it came to me in a dream. So a lot of times
What?
things that I do artistically, I may have visions. So it came to me, and the crown is your crown. And, I think of ancestry and the kings and queens before me. So when you take care of your crown, you're protecting yourself, protecting your connection to spirit, connection to the higher powers. And then soul is your heart. So anything that I do, I'm giving from my heart, my soul, and I'm giving. So by helping others, I'm feeding my soul. And
Yes.
so Crown Soul, and then Creations, which was is also my business, Crown Soul Creations. Everything that I make is that connection, mind, body, spirit. So whether it's Crown Soul Yoga, which is the business of yoga, Crown Soul Creations, which is the business of jewelry and the knitwear and the soaps and the products that I make, the t-shirts and the hoodies and all that stuff that I make, those are my creations.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
the branding.
Yes, branding.
Queen. So I want people to feel royal and to embrace who they are and to have a lot of soul in whatever they do.
Most definitely. So you're more than just a professional dancer, a professional fitness instructor, educator. I mean, you're a businesswoman, you're an entrepreneur. And how has that journey been for you?
It's rewarding. It's rewarding to look at the things that I've done, look at my resume, look at the timeline that Facebook shows me, like it's happened 10 years ago.
Yes.
It's mind blowing to know that so much time has passed and so much I've been able to do and share, as far as fashion shows, as far as vendoring and doing different events, and now focusing more on online yoga business and sharing meditation and sound healing, Reiki, which is energy work. Even the energy work I do, holistic health and wellness, is based in Kemetic tradition as well. So, shout outs to Raiseki Arts Temple, which is where I studied, which is based in Atlanta, and the Kemetic Yoga School in Chicago under Yasir Rahotep. So Yoga Skills Method. And I'm so thankful. I'm thankful to Brooklyn, and I'm thankful to Queen Afua and all the women, the sacred women who have led the way to healthy living and
Yes. Yes, most definitely. Now, I know you live in Brooklyn, New York, right? And that's where my podcast is hosted, in Brooklyn, New York. Shout out to Brooklyn, right? But now, prior to the pandemic, most instructors like yourself and dancers, they would train their students in person. But as you know, New York was hit very hard. And during the pandemic, they shut all that down. So most of you guys had to pivot and start doing online instruction. How has that worked out for you? And are you still doing online?
I'm still doing online. It's been 2 years of online teaching. It's hills and valleys. It's been hills and valleys.
Yes.
At the beginning, I think that there was definitely influx, numbers going up. Everyone was at home and needing to have connection. So they were Zooming it and Skyping it. However, WhatsApp, whatever people could use to connect with me through private sessions, through small group sessions, and group conferences. So, but as things have opened up in New York, it has slowed down. I also feel like teachers as well as students, clients have experienced a little bit of Zoom burnout. I'm spending so much time online. I think that, people need to take a break from it and do in-person things. So I'm glad that this summer I was able to go into schools, and we were able to dance outside in the playground areas, or I was able to teach in Central Park or Prospect Park,
right.
Do some outdoor or public space events. But it hasn't been easy because now there are a lot of restrictions. There are a lot of restrictions in New York, and based on your status of vaccination, non-vaxxed, it limits who you're able to access and then who feels comfortable going back into spaces. So even depending on whatever your status is, there are people who just would rather do online. And then there's others who are very happy to be back in all the public spaces.
Right.
It's a I guess I'm a person that goes with the flow.
Yes.
And I follow my intuition. So if I feel that something is telling me no, wait a little while longer, and then open up more opportunities, then I do that. If I feel like, okay, let me hold back. Maybe we'll do hybrid for a while. Maybe we'll come in, do some online,
Right. Yes.
And just see how things go during the fall, winter season. So
Yes. So I would imagine online will be around for a while.
I think that it is now a way of life for instructors, and it is now a way of life I think it's convenient. In a lot of ways, save a lot of money as far as transportation. I'm someone that moves around a lot, and I found that by being online for 2 years and not having to ride the metro and taking public transportation, I saved tons of money.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
and the stress of traveling and commuting and coming in contact with so many people, because it's a busy city, there's so much going on, that can be draining alone.
Yes.
So I found that I was more at peace, just kind of being in my own space, and that I still feel that, but I definitely love being connected with nature. So you will find me at the beach teaching or just experiencing yoga and meditation for myself out in the open and sharing it online.
Yes, most definitely. And we will also be sharing you online because we're going to be doing some 6-week fitness programs again, and you will definitely be one of our preferred instructors. As long as you have the availability, we want you.
I can't wait.
Now, this is my podcast. My program is called 6 Weeks of Fitness. Okay, it's a subsidiary of my Body Scope of New York nonprofit organization. But if you had 6 weeks to get fit, what exercise activities would you do or recommend people do to get in shape in 6 weeks?
Well, I would say first, I mean, look at your diet and come up with a food plan. You might want to consider fasting. Start with a fast. It could be a 7-day fast, juice, just to clean your body out, just to help, we have a compact, our colon, cleanse out everything out before you start your 6-week journey. You want to start off fresh and clean so your body is rejuvenated. So I would suggest to do a juice fast. And if that's new to you, you can start easy. Maybe you just, cut out your carbs, cut out the heavy foods, the processed foods. Only eat lean meats if you're eating lean meats, and just gradually, increase that. But I think that you should definitely include healthy eating in your program. And once you start the 6 weeks, have a calendar, and then have a meal prep for each week. And then analyze, maybe do measurements to see where you are at the beginning of your fitness journey. See where you are, and be kind to yourself, But do those measurements. Get to measuring tape, measure your arms, measure your waist, measure your thighs, and record that, and then set up workouts for each parts of the body. I know that's what I do. So I have a leg day, I have an arm day, I have ab day, I have, total body workout day. And then I'll have a day of rest. Okay. And then that continues on for the full workout. I'd say, it's easy to also have a buddy, have a fitness buddy, somebody that can hold you accountable. Somebody can call and say, hey girl, are you still doing your workout? Did you do your 25 minutes today? Or did you do an hour? Did you work out today? Or I'm about to do these workouts. All right, let's do a challenge today. Let's do 10 push-ups, whatever. 40 sit-ups, whatever the challenge is. But I think it does help to have someone or have a group. It could be an online group or a group of friends or coworkers that will support you. Say, hey, this is what I'm doing. I'm going to be working out for 6 weeks. My goal is to lose 5 pounds and maybe even have like a money pot. So for every person in your group that loses the 5 pounds, they get $10 or something like that. Or you do a gift exchange or something, an incentive for people to really not only yourself, I know I've done it with my family members, like my brother. We did it with a group of friends. And I found that it helped me and it helped them.
Yes.
uh, because we sometimes we're so busy and it's easy to forget, oh, I was supposed to do this today. Oh, or I forgot, like, or, you know, you might have a cheat day. Okay, really want to eat. No, I want to have cupcakes today, or whatever it is that you love. I'm a sweets lover, so for me, vegan treats are something that you might see me eating.
Yes.
Vegan ice cream. So we all have those days that we might cheat, but just know that if you have a group or you have goals that you set for yourself, you look back at that, look at the calendar, the agenda that you set out for the workout plan, that helps you kind of stay on track.
Most definitely. Awesome advice. I appreciate that. I'm sure my listeners and viewers will take some of that into consideration. Now, I want to touch on very briefly the fact that in addition to all this, you are also an actress. Have you been in any shows, and what's the plan for acting going forward?
Well, this was the first year that I was invited to the Tribeca Film Festival. And because of the pandemic, the festival was online. I would have loved to have been invited to be on the red carpet for my first film as a principal dancer.
Yes.
But it was online, it was a Zoom call. And wow, it was an amazing experience. Tessa Thompson was the lead actress in the film that I was a part of. Trying to remember the name of it. That's crazy.
So that happens.
But it was a great experience just to work. To shoot, we were still filming. Of course, during the pandemic, there's COVID testing and all that that had to be done. It was shot in Bushwick in a church, so it was nearby as far as filming. And I was a swing dancer in the film, and it was a club scene.
Nice.
So the movie took place, it kind of it was based off of a book, and it was about the relationship that these two women had that were Black women, but they could pass for white. So it was about the challenges they faced in Harlem. These two women who grew up together, but they separated, had two separate lives. They met up again. One chose to marry a Black man, had kids. The other chose to marry someone of a European. And there were race issues. And what ultimately happened at the end is that the truth came out, and it led to someone, you know, the truth came out, and it was.
Yes, I can imagine.
And I just thought of the name of the movie. The movie is called Passing. So if you go on, I think, Tribeca Film Festival's site, information about those movies, I'm not sure. Because of the pandemic, a lot of those movies have not, I don't know if they are going to be released. But during the festival, you pay for a ticket, and then you can watch all the movies online from your home, which is convenient.
Yes.
But dancing, it was a 14-hour shoot for 3 days. A lot of dancing, a lot of swing dancing. It was me and the 10 dancers that were featured in the club scene. We're all friends. We all work together here in New York. So it really is about who you know, because the lead choreographer, Ailey Dancer, someone that I know, assistant choreographer, someone that I know as from Ailey as well. Many of the dancers in the cast are former Ailey dancers, or professional actors, Black performers in New York. It was such a great opportunity. It was a well-paid gig at a time when we didn't have much work at all. So many shows and events have been canceled. So to have a big job like that happen before things went haywire like they are now.
Yeah.
I get thanks for that.
Yes.
So, yeah, I had an opportunity to work on the movie Passing. Before that, I was working right before the pandemic, which I guess now it's been 2 years. I was working on the Mandela musical.
Wow.
So, choreographer from South Africa, musicians from South Africa. They chose 6 dancers for the project to just set choreography for the future opening of the musical.
Wow.
Of course, with all of this happening, there have been so many setbacks, but at least I was a part of the creative process. So we were learning Afro beats, a fusion of Afro beat dance, modern dance, house. So it was a fusion, very rhythmic movement. So yeah, I worked on that project for, I think it was like 3 weeks.
3 weeks. Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
And that was that was an in-person project. We rehearsed in the studio, full band. Everyone was there. It was before all this happened. That was the last project I did that was in person. Since then, I worked on another project this year with the cast of Swing Out. And Swing Out is now at the Joyce. So there was an audition process. They were seeking about 20 or maybe 18 musicians, singers, tap and swing dancers to partner up with a cast member for a residency program. And the residency program was for 4 weeks. And at the end of the residency, you'll have learned music or you've learned choreography, and then you're able to present it. And this is something that I would be so busy that I wouldn't be able to be a part of the residency because it would mean I would have to take off from my job. But with everything that was going on, my schedule was open and I was able to work work with really great musicians, really great choreographers and dancers.
Yes.
So shout out to the cast of Swing Out for those who are going back into theaters and on Broadway.
Broadway.
See them, they're on stage. So I'm honored that I was able to work with them in an online performance setting.
Yes. But that's okay. You've done so much, though, Carmen, in your young life, and I'm so impressed. But what advice or what words of encouragement would you give to other aspiring dancers and fitness professionals who's trying to get to where you are? What advice would you give them today?
Well, I say discipline. Discipline. Know your craft.
Wow.
There are a lot of, I would say, people who look good on camera and they create all types of online content, but the conditioning it takes to perform and go on tour is a very different beast. So if you're choosing to be a performer, a professional who gets paid for doing what we do, longevity, if you want to still be performing and have a career and say, hey, I've been on stage and I've performed everywhere and it's been 25 years and I'm, knock on wood, injury free.
Yes.
That's very important to say that I've danced and had a career this long and I haven't had any injuries. It's conditioning and training and listening to your body, because we live in an environment where we're being pushed. You'll be pushed to the edge. People are going to push you to use your talents to the last little drop. But what has saved me is knowing my body and knowing my limits, knowing when I need to rest, knowing when I need to take a break, and having good rapport, communicating properly, because in this world, in this industry, the connections that you make stay with you. So if you have a good reputation, and you're nice to the people that you work with and people know that about you, you'll get referred for jobs. If you have a bad rapport, meaning that you don't show up on time, you don't have good habits, maybe you smoke and drink on the job, or you do other types of things. And I don't recommend that. Everyone has their choice of what they do, but when you are in a professional setting, always be professional and be yourself. You know, don't try to compare yourself to anyone else, because there'll be people that are 10 times better than you, then there'll be people who are still learning. So I say, it's easy to look at celebrities and to look at people that you see and like, oh my God, I don't have the best social media content. I need to keep going. I need to, look at what's necessary in order for you to reach the goals that you want. Look at someone that you admire. I admire Camille Brown she is one of my peers. We're the same age. And to see her growth and her development from an Ailey dancer to this choreographer who is setting major work on all of the Broadway shows right now, her consistency and her belief and her vision and her branding or her work, having her own company and not allowing anyone to manipulate or change her work, is why she is where she is. Her commitment to sharing the Black experience through dance, her commitment to sharing and making sure our voices are heard as people of the diaspora, is why she's doing Porgy and Bess. It's why she's doing all these different, whether she's being called for the job. And when you get to a position of power in the industry, keep the people in your life who support you the most with you, because you're going to need that support. Because if you go into an industry and you become famous and you don't have anyone around you to support you, you're vulnerable to all kinds of stuff. And you don't have people fighting for you. So I would use, the people that I admire who are very successful in the industry. You look at their assistant directors, you look at who their assistant dancers are. There are people that they've been working with, the same 10 people or 5 people that they known 10 years ago or 20 years ago are on their team, on their board of advisors. So keep the people close to you. That's my advice, because I know that I don't have a big company like that. But when I do have that kind of business and flow and opportunity, I'm going to definitely reach out to folks like you, of course, who have provided a platform for me to be on, and many others that I've worked with, so that we can grow and build together, because that's what it really is about.
Yes, 100%. Love that. Love it.
And have fun and just live your life.
Yes. Live your life. I'm trying.
Don't be stressed out. And if you are stressed out, tell people about it. Meditate, pray, have a spiritual, whatever your spiritual beliefs are, stay grounded in that, because that also, helps you keep a clear mind, clear focus.
Yes.
And knowing what your purpose is in life is also important. If you don't know what it is, figure that out. And that could be a lifelong journey. We're all trying to, stay on the right path.
Oh, most definitely. This has been so uplifting and rewarding for me, and I'm sure it will be for my listeners and viewers as well. But where can my listeners and viewers find out more about Carmen Carricka?
Well, you can find out about me. You can go to my website, which is crownsoulyoga.com. You can find me. I have a YouTube channel at Carmen Comedic Yoga. And I'm on Facebook as Carmen Carriker. I'm on Instagram as Crown Soul Fashionista, or as Sea Soul Comedic Arts. But you can just look up my name, Carmen Carriker, and Google search me. I'm available. You'll see my businesses and you'll see my classes. And I'm open to working with everyone and helping us to live a more healthy, healthy, happy life.
Yes, most definitely. Carmen Carricka, on behalf of Body Scope of New York and 6 Weeks to Fitness, I truly want to thank you for coming on my show today.
Thank you so much for having me.
And to my listening and viewing audience, I truly hope this program was informative, encouraging, and inspiring, and that you will continue listening in and watching our 6 Weeks to Fitness program. And if you have any questions or suggestions for the show, please leave them in the comment section below. And don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any future episodes. And remember, let's get ready, get set, and let's get fit.